Hey guys, Thetcglover here, how are we doing today? So today's video is going to be the top 5 cards that increased in demand due to the megatins, and of course this is excluding cards which actually exist in the megatin, because of course there are going to be some cards which are in high demand right now and they exist in the megatin, and therefore you buy the megatins with the intention of picking up these cards. Of course in 2014, in this case, we had Exciton and we had Dracosac, but in this case, this time around we have all the Shadows, we have all the Satellanites, we have Dante, Virgil, tons of cards. However, some cards, as we know, were omitted from the megatins, which means that if you want to play the deck, you want to buy a megatin, you want to play the deck, you're going to have to go and actually go out of your way and finish the deck yourself outside of the megatins. So there's going to be some cards missing, there's going to be some other cards that exist in the game which get benefit from the cards in the megatin, and so I've listed the top 5 in no particular order, which actually benefit in demand and actually go up in price to some extent. I'm not going to talk about prices, but the megatins actually created a demand for these cards. So the first one is going to be Qliphort Monolith. Now this is the only one, as far as I know, which didn't make it into the megatin, which means that if you want to play this deck, you're going to have to pick up at least 2 or 3 Monolith. Now 2 or 3 Monolith is the ratio of what you have in the deck when you're playing the Qliphort build. The towers build, you just spam towers, you draw some cards, the most popular build right now. If you want to play the more control build, you still play Monolith, you just don't play as many copies, so you can play 1 or 2 at most. Qliphort Monolith's price has just gone completely regardless of what build you play of Qliphort, you're still going to have to collect monoliths, so it's kind of unavoidable, and therefore its demand has spiked up because there's so much demand for a card, which actually is quite a pain in the ass to get hold of. Of course, Secrets of Eternity did have a special edition. It's still not as many of them as people would like, so therefore Qliphort Monolith's price and demand has gone up dramatically, probably more so than mostly every other card in the game right at this point. The second one is El Shadow Anoyatilis. Now Anoyatilis came out in Cross Souls, therefore it didn't get reprinted in the tins because Cross Souls was completely dodged. That's how it's going to be, because the last 2 sets that we have right now, which is Clash of Rebellion and Cross Souls, did not get in the tins. The megatin dodged it, therefore its demand has gone up because a lot of people are picking up Shadows, even though Shadows never been really that expensive, but the deck is actually really decent right now because of Clowns, and because of all the different variants like Seraph and Light Swans and all that stuff. So Shadows are a really cool deck to pick up and actually have a lot of playability right now, and therefore Anoyatilis is actually really good. And of course it's designed to beat the mirror match and it's designed to beat Necros, so therefore it actually is a really in high demand card right now. And of course the card will keep going up in price. It's been speculated on Facebook that this hype will just continue to increase until people stop playing Shadows entirely, and therefore Anoyatilis will go down. But right now Anoyatilis is incredibly high in terms of its demand, so therefore you may as well pick up them as much as you can, as quick as you can, and maybe even just play Shadows, because Anoyatilis is at 1, it is kind of played at 1 in the deck, so you may as well play it at its best and get hold of the card today, tomorrow, before it goes up to ridiculous prices. The third one, Rubik Malebranche of the Burning Abyss. Now this is the tuner from Next Challengers, which did not get reprinted in the megatins, and therefore if you want to play Virgil, which is in the megatin, and you want to play Dante and you want to play the deck properly, you kind of need 3 Rubiks, and Rubik's price has gone up a lot. Okay, it's gone up a hell of a lot. Its demand has gone up because it's one of the staple cards that exist inside Burning Abyss. Of course, the Skarm didn't. None of the Burning Abyss got reprinted, but Rubik is probably the most expensive non-extra deck Burning Abyss card. And of course Burning Abyss are going to get better once we get the extra support that's going to come out, which obviously Japan got recently. But we're going to get that card soon, and that'll be really awesome because it'll allow us to summon the fusion. So Burning Abyss has the potential to be really great playing forward for the next few months. I think it will survive the power creep, which we'll have for the next couple of months. So I think that Burning Abyss is a really good candidate for the next format, and therefore Rubik's price and demand will continue to increase, and therefore I feel it goes on the same level as Monolith and Anoyatilis, where they really are just going up and up, and it's like you can't dodge it. So Mathematician is number 4. in my opinion. Mathematician is played at free in most builds of Shadow. Now Shadow is probably the most in-demand archetype which has come out of the Megatins, and therefore if you want to play the deck at its best you need to play free Mathematician. Of course Mathematician did not get reprinted in the Megatins, and therefore you have to go out of your way to go and pick up these Mathematicians. And Blackluster Soldier, you kind of need to go out of your way and do this. So picking up Megatins, going to locals, picking up these cards, it's like getting from Megatins is really easy, but when you have to go, oh crap, I've actually got half of the deck to pick up outside the Megatins, you kind of have to go out of your way and get them. So the demand just goes up because of inconvenience more than anything else. And the last one, which is really obvious, is Instant Fusion. Of course, Norden got reprinted in the tins, and everyone has a bloody Norden now, okay? Anytime you open up an Odd Eyes tin, you just get yourself a free Norden. Why the hell not? You know, it pays back about 25% of the tin every time you buy one of those tins, and therefore Instant Fusion's price it's going up a little bit, but Instant Fusion's, the hype for the Instant Fusion Norden combo in most decks that we play now has been going on for the last few months, so therefore Instant Fusion's price as a common is not going up so much anymore. However, its demand for people to get hold of these is going up. So maybe the price will continue to increase, but right now Instant Fusion's price is incredibly high for a common, and therefore you need to play 3 of them if you want to play 2 Nordens and 3 Instant Fusions. So this is probably one of the most in-demand cards out of the 5. However, I feel at the moment it goes in place with the other 4, where they all have a really high demand right now, just because they're in, like, everyone's like, damn, I wish these were in the Megatins, I really want to play these cheap decks now. However, people will find a way to make certain cards expensive for you, so that you have to go out of your way and spend extra money outside of the Megatins, and this is one of those things. So Instant Fusion is my 5th pick. So anyway, that's my top 5. I hope you guys liked it. Comment down below if there was any specific demand for a card that you've noticed recently, and I'd like to hear your thoughts on it. So thanks for watching, guys, and until next time, the Thetcglover is out.